Well, hello there, wherever you're watching around the world. It's Vinny Sandhu here, Mr. Maximo for the European Cricket Network, and I'm here to deliver a cricket commentary clinic. So thanks for joining us, and hopefully you're going to enjoy commentating in the ECS. Okay, now let me take a step back. Hi, I'm Vinny. I'm the media presenter for European cricket, and I've been asked to deliver a few pointers on cricket commentary. And so that's what I'm going to try and do over the course of this video. And by no means am I the best in the business, but I have been doing it for some time now, and hopefully I can pass on a few pointers and give you a few do's and a few do nots, which hopefully will point you in the right direction. So thanks very much for helping out. Now, the first thing I'll touch on is I'm very big on my openings and closings. So that was an example of an opening of mine. So yeah, try and hit it with a bit of energy and kind of have planned what you might say. So yeah, I mean, the main thing is find your own style. I've got a few slides to go through, so I'm just going to basically put those up on the screen now. So yeah, welcome to the clinic. Yeah, my name's Vinny Sandhu, and yeah, there's obviously a lot happening in European cricket, and yeah, it's an exciting time. So hopefully you find this useful. All right, firstly, a bit about me. Yes, my name's Vinny, but actually, my full name is Devinder Singh Sandhu. I was born and raised in Australia to a Punjabi father and a Scottish mother. I can only speak English, regrettably. I'm really jealous of people that can speak multiple languages. I am a former cricketer. I played quite a good level of cricket in Australia without quite cracking it as like a full-time professional. Although I have played indoor cricket for Australia, and I was quite a handy wicketkeeper, not a very good batsman. But after retiring from cricket in my early 30s, I started an events company, and I've hosted hundreds and hundreds of events of all different types. I've had to be pretty adaptable. And you may or may not know me from the European Cricket League in 2019, where I was one of the commentators on the tournament, and it was the first time around the tournament. It was really successful and obviously led to other things like the European Cricket Series. So currently I am stuck in Australia because due to COVID, travel is not a possibility for the time being. So that's why I'm trying to pass on a few tips to you guys over there in Europe. All right, so the main thing I do at the moment with regards to European cricket and the European Cricket Series is I do a daily match preview show. So I pick a game, normally the first one of the day. They're about 5 to 10 minutes long, mainly to highlight players for fans to watch out for, keep our sponsors happy, and yeah, just try and get a bit of awareness around the tournament and when the matches are taking place, hopefully to direct people to watch the matches. So if you can, try and watch these. They're on the YouTube channel, and you can integrate my predictions into your telecast. So normally I pick a winner or pick certain players to do well, so you can kind of cross-promote that way. And also, yeah, let the fans know about the videos. They're on the same YouTube channel, and our YouTube channel is ECN European Cricket Network. You can probably get away with European Cricket Network, but I always try and say ECN European Cricket Network because that's what it is on YouTube. So I'm also on the live chat normally in the games from when I can, and so say hi if you notice me. We have a bit of a chat back and forth, and you can see a few screenshots from my show there. So I've done, at the moment when I'm recording this, I've done about 50 odd shows. So yeah, it's developing as we go. So this is just my thoughts on commentating, and we've got 4 key areas, as you can see, and basically what I did is I shot down everything I could think of that I'd found useful over the course of since I've been commentating. And then I kind of grouped them into 4 key areas, depending on, how I grouped similar ones together. So the first key area is attitude and attitude professionalism. I'd group them together. The second key area is strategy. The third key area is branding message. And the fourth is technique. So let's take these one at a time. Attitude, professionalism. One thing I find useful as a tip if I'm talking to new people about this is act like you do it all the time, even if you don't. So be confident. Have that confidence about you. Don't, if something goes wrong, don't go, oh, I'm not normally a commentator. Don't do that. Just own it, okay? Roll with it. Act like you do it all the time. Be a pro. The second point there, don't overdo it. Don't underdo it. Just do it. So don't go over the top with what you're doing and try and be something you're not. Don't go into your shell, but just be yourself. And with experience as well, you probably get a little bit better at that. And you're never going to please everybody, so don't try to. All right? You're always going to have people kind of being negative, or they don't like something you said, or they think you know nothing about cricket or whatever. But don't let them knock you off your task. Okay, so a bit like playing a cricket match, really. Don't let them get in your head, all right, because it'll affect your game. And the truth is, most people, or a lot of people anyway, they'll think they can commentate better than you. So, I often use the example of when people say things like that to me, I'm like, well, yeah, next time I go call a taxi on a Saturday night, I doubt I'm going to call the taxi, then tell the driver to get in the passenger seat because I know how to drive. He's obviously driving it for a reason. Do you know the city? Not really. So it's just one of those things. So look, obviously, I'm doing this professionally, and most of you guys, I assume, won't be, although you might have differing levels of experience. So I don't expect you to kind of take it as seriously as I'm taking it, for example. But these are just a few tips. Hopefully, you grab a few of them and you find them useful. All right, call things correctly. This is one thing you can do. So yeah, we call it the European Cricket Series. The European Cricket League is something else. Okay, and then the platforms it's on Fan Code in South Asia, it's on Free Sports in the UK, and it helps to know these things. So I've also put there crisp openings and closings, like I mentioned at the top of the show. That comes to professionalism. All right, so it's a bit like when I was at school. My music teacher said, "Look, Vinny, if you do the first bit of the song right and the last bit of the song right, people won't really notice the middle." Right? So sometimes I estimate that like about 70% of how good people think you are is the openings and the closings, right? so yeah, maybe have something ready to go, or some go-to phrases or something, so you're not stumbling, and so you come in, and it really gives a good first impression as well if you can give a good opening. And the final thing there, get your volume right. So you might not be able to tell at the time, but go listen back on your phone, on your laptop or whatever. Listen back to your to the games you commentate, and find out if you're too loud at times or if you're too soft at times, and make the necessary adjustments. All right, so that's attitude and professionalism. Let's move on to strategy. So it's a bit like a cricket team. You got to work as a team and know your role. Now, you're probably going to be working in pairs, and so the two roles typically are the ball-by-ball guy, who will kind of call the ball when it's in play, and then the in-between balls guy, or the kind of color commentator or special comment, sometimes that's called. And that's just so that you have a bit of a strategy, so you're not talking over each other. Because if someone hits a good shot and you both yell out, "Great shot," it sounds messy. So don't worry about who's talking more at some particular point, because you're both going to get plenty of chances. And this comes back to my first cricket commentating experience at the European Cricket League. Myself and Phil, my partner, and we did a bit of a practice game where it wasn't really being televised, but we were testing all the equipment, and we both kept talking over each other. Phil is a media professional, but he hasn't done a lot of cricket, and I knew my cricket, but I hadn't done a lot of media. So between us, didn't seem to have a clue. But yeah, we kind of worked out, okay, why don't we have a strategy where someone calls the action and then someone kind of throws something in between balls. And we actually, in the beginning, we alternated overs, where I do the ball by ball one over, he'd do the ball by ball the next, and alternate the other position as well. But then we kind of realized we were both comfortable in different roles. So I was more comfortable in the ball by ball, and that suited me, and he was more comfortable in the reflective kind of special comments type of role. So discuss this between you. It's a simple thing to do, and it'll make you sound a lot more professional. While the games are on, in our YouTube channel, there's a live chat. So if you can, get in with them. They love it. I mean, don't focus on it too much and take your eye off the game too much, because that's what they're primarily to do. But they're pretty useful and also to get them on side and get some positive kind of mojo happening towards the telecast. And they might ask you questions, hashtag ask commentators, or hashtag ask your name, whatever your name is. So one thing I would say is be strategic, okay? You don't have to answer every question that comes in. So be clever. Don't feel obligated to answer questions that you're not comfortable answering, or you think they're areas you don't really want to go. For example, people throwing around, match fixing stuff, whatever, baseless stuff like that. Like, if that came up in the chat, I know we're not match fixing, or I certainly hope there's no match fixing going on, but I'm not going to address it and start a whole negative discussion. Why would I do that? I'd rather focus on something more positive. So yeah, be strategic, and you don't have to answer every question that comes in. And it's a way you can make yourself a likable person. So you ingratiate yourself to that audience. Be friendly, respectable, positive, respectful, I should say. and let them get to know you a bit, because they like that. But don't go on too much about yourself. So there's a bit of a line between telling a bit about yourself, but then if you're always bringing everything back to your own experience, or your own, when I did this, or when I played against this guy, or that can annoy people a little bit. And the last point in strategy, and I love this one. It's kind of the Donald Trump rule. People often think what you tell them to think. So I'm not saying that you lie here, but you can make some statements on some pretty flimsy evidence. So, for example, a lot of people are telling us they're really enjoying regular live cricket. Now, I might have heard that once or twice, so maybe that's not a lot of people. But or people are really loving the European Cricket Series. They're really loving how the players are so committed, and they really want to do the best for their team. They might not be the most skillful cricketers in the world, but I tell you what, they're some of the most committed. Stuff like that. So the reason for this is that if people hear people feel a certain way and they feel positively, well, then they'll feel positively, because really people generally are agreeable and they want to agree with other people. So if certain people, like you as a commentator, then other people come in, if they go, oh, this is a bad commentator, everyone will go, oh, no, he's a good commentator. And like, oh, yeah, actually, he's all right. So throw a bit of that in. That's a great way to kind of get positive feelings going. That's what we're all about. That kind of brings me nicely to my next point, which is branding and message. Now, Roger should have given you a document which has a few more technical points about exactly who the sponsors are and how many seconds you should do this and say this. And so I'm not really getting into that. I'm concentrating on a few more stylistic points and when the ball's in play. But I will say a little bit about branding and message, and that yes, one of your roles, if you can do it, to promote our message and what we're trying to achieve. So what we're trying to do is build the game on the continent, and it's a very long-term view that we've got. So that's our message. Is like, we're not pretending it's the most high-level cricket that people are ever going to see, but we want it to be entertaining. We want it to be watched, and if it's watched, especially in regions in Europe, then it's going to be played more. If it's played more people are playing, the standard gets higher, and over time, we hope that we're going to, in a generation, we're going to have a bunch of cricketers in the European continent. So that's basically our message. If you've got any questions about any of that kind of stuff, speak to some of the European cricket guys. I'm sure they'll be floating around at the tournament. All right. Now, thanks, sponsors. Try to work it in organically. Okay. Now, you can go, thanks to Kookaburra for supplying the balls or something. But what's more exciting is if a few sixes have gone, you're like, oh, we're going to have to phone up Kookaburra and get some more balls sent over, blah, 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 because you're trying to work it organically. Or if someone smashes the stumps over, like, oh, we might have to call the sticky wickets people and order a few more sets of stumps. Or, you get what I'm saying. The next thing is direct people to our website and get it right. So our website is www.ecn.cricket, or you can drop the www and just say ecn.cricket, but it doesn't have .com in it. It's just ecn.cricket. So and a good way to bring that in would be to say, for full stats, tables and figures, just visit our website, ecn.cricket. All right. And also the app. Mention the app as well, if you can, a European Cricket Network app in the Google Play Store and the App Store. So there are a couple of things we're trying to promote at the moment. Finally, look, like I said a bit earlier, if there's some pretty bad cricket, emphasize it as a vision. As like the vision here is, okay, this game might be bad, but we're trying to introduce cricket, and the infrastructure is not that well known, or the infrastructure doesn't exist here just yet, like in some other countries, or the players, they're not full-time professionals. Notice I don't go overboard to say they're amateur either. I just say things like they're not full-time professionals, okay? And still try and be a little bit positive and don't make excuses for the players. But yeah, if you do see some pretty bad cricket, we still want to spin it in a positive way. That what we're doing is a good project and it's good for the game overall. Because mainly what it comes from is, some people are negative if they're back in the subcontinent, whatever, and they're probably a bit jealous because they probably feel that they're better cricketers and why aren't they on TV? And I can understand their point of view, but this is the European Cricket League, so of course they're welcome to play. That's what we get all the time. How can I play in this? Well, yeah, just join a club and you can play. But I live in India. Like, well, if you don't anytime, then you can play. So that's a pretty consistent inquiry we get. All right, so that's branding and message. Let's move on to the fourth and final point, technique. It's a bit like, again, I'll bring it back to cricket. Like, you can have all the energy you like, but if you don't have teamwork skills and you don't have the great technique, then you're probably not going to be that successful in what you do. So just going to throw a few things out with technique. Now, the first one is you don't have to state the obvious. So what I mean by that, and one of the things that kind of turns me off is when commentators just go like, short ball, cut shot, fielded. Next ball is full, is driven, it's 4. And it's just they're saying what I can see. So I'm not saying you don't ever do that, but don't be monotonous that way and pick and choose. And really, as a commentator, it's sometimes better if you step back from the game and see what's going on a higher level. So, for example, know if they need 100 off the 10 overs, and that's why 10 overs is so great because of the maths is so easy to do all the time. So they need 100 off their 10 overs, and they're only say 28 off 4 overs. You say, oh, there should be 40 by now. Like they want to pick up the pace here. They might want to take a few more risks or something. So make those more the broader analysis of the game, I think, is sometimes more useful than just saying what's happening that people can see. Although balance that with the fact that, look, there are a few new type viewers that might not know cricket that well. So when you do that, maybe explain the game in a bit more detail than you would. But yeah, a bit of a balance. Don't get too one-paced with just describing what you see, ball to bat kind of thing. So stories both within the game, so like particular battles within a game, but then also across the tournament. It helps if you know what the table looks like. If you know that some team need to win all their games to make the finals, you can throw that in, and this is knowledge that you can build up to try and build more of a story, because basically each one of these ECS tournaments is a story from start to finish, and it starts with the blank canvas, and then it's going to be some stuff painted on it. We don't really know what the final product's going to look like, but it's your job to tell that story to the viewers so that they're on board and they're invested in the story. All right. And look, if the game's one-sided or boring towards the end, talk about anything else. Right. So that's your chance. Don't worry about the cricket, what's happening unless something outrageous happens. This is a game where a team's chasing 120 and they're 20 for 5, and there's no doubt about the result. But then maybe it's a good time to go to the YouTube chat. Take questions about the city, wherever you are in the world. What kind of restaurants are good there, what kind of food's there, how you ended up there. All right, wherever the conversation takes you, talk to each other. And like I said, the YouTube chat is a good place to start. And we're just trying to keep their interest basically, and hopefully they stick with us. And there's probably more games coming up. And ask each other questions as well. So work off each other. Like, what do you think? Do you think in this situation, are they better off having another man in the circle and trying to force the batsman to a risk, or do you think they play it safe and put him back? What do you think? And ask each other questions like that, especially in times where in between overs and things like that. Then that makes it a bit more interesting for people as well. All right. The next one is a bit more of a stylistic point, which is try to use an interesting tone of voice and vary your voice. So again, if someone speaks the same way all the time, again, people will probably be critical of your style because it's a little bit boring. So when I consciously try to change the pitch of my voice, change the speed of what I'm saying, have a certain rhythm to what I'm saying, so that people find it interesting. I'm sure there are some people that find my voice annoying. Maybe you do right now. That's absolutely fine. So the next one is try not to be repetitive. The good way to do this is watch yourself back and pick up on things. So if you say a certain word all the time, like we had a couple of weeks ago that I actually loved, but the commentator just kept saying, that's a beautiful shot. That's a beautiful catch. Everything was beautiful. And I actually loved it. And I'm very rarely critical of any commentary that I see, because having done it, I know it's not as easy as everyone thinks it is. So I actually started loving it. But for example, if you find you're saying a certain word like beautiful, and you're saying it all the time, perhaps Google 3 or 4 words that mean the same thing, and even write them down in front of you if you want to go to an extreme, or just think of some words you could say instead, and then you've got 4 or 5 words that you can call on. All right. And the next one is have certain hooks that So hook is like, Yeah, so wherever you're watching around the world, it's great that you're joining us. Now, you might be joining us on our YouTube channel, ECN European Cricket Network, or if you're in India, you might be watching on Fanco. If you're in UK, you might be watching on Free Sports. But wherever you are, welcome to the telecast. This is European Cricket Series, blah, 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 blah. It's just, that was probably a bit of a long hook. But, for closings and openings, or if there's an injury, there's a way you can fill time without having to think too much. So that's like quite a professional technique as well. So yeah, not much going on. We say, and you got hit by the ball. And those balls are in great condition. They hold their, or they stay new and hard for quite a while. So thanks to Kookaburra for supplying the balls. Blah blah blah. So just something that's a bit of a go-to. Those weren't very good, so I think that one deserved better than that. And the last point is have your own style and be comfortable. So for all of the points or the pointers that I've given in this video, the main thing is just we want you to be yourself. And I'm naturally a fairly energetic kind of a guy, a talkative kind of a guy. And I get excitable. That's a fair comment. And so I'm comfortable with that way. So it's not hard work for me to do it, even though it looks like it's hard work because I'm going crazy most of the time. But for me, that's my own style. So be yourself and adapt any of these points to suit you. The final thing I didn't put on there, and I've probably touched on it already, but don't feel like you have to talk all the time because you'll get plenty of a chance to talk. All right. Much better that sometimes you take a step back and think about what you're going to say rather than just start a sentence you don't know how it's going to finish. All right. So there's a few technique pointers. All right. So I'm just going to scroll back and show you those 4 key areas again. All right. And obviously you can keep this video, and if you find it useful, you can watch it during the week or anything. If you have these things in mind, then perhaps you'll be able to judge your performance and improve, because it's like anything, you get better the more you do it. All right. Finally, most importantly, enjoy. Enjoy what you're doing. It's a really fun project. It's something which wouldn't have been possible really without technology being the way that it is. And it's just a very exciting time for European cricket and the sport in general. And technologically, it's kind of an amazing thing that's going on. So lean on each other, support each other, and basically bring your story to the world. And that's what we're looking for here. All right. So I'm going to just find a way to get back on the screen. There we go. Yeah, so one final point is probably that one thing to remember is that everyone else is watching this from outside in. Now, you'll be at the ground and you probably will know a lot of the players and umpires, and you'll know all these stories. But we want you to share those stories with the world. And that's really why this project's been so successful, because people might see a bunch of cricketers that look like the cricketers down their local park in Australia, for example, but they don't have the stories that will exist within your league of where someone came from, or they'd never even played hardball cricket until they came to this country, or they walked across Europe for 2 months to get to this country or to escape some situation, or more lighthearted, like they've got a really cool job, like they work in a cookie factory, or they're an accountant, but make it fun. And if somebody wears glasses and they're an accountant, that what a return. I don't know. But basically, we want you to make it fun. We want you to make it unique. Let us know about what you're doing and your place that you're doing it from. So, hopefully you found that interesting in some way. If you got something out of it, then that's exactly what it's about, because we do want to get the commentary a certain consistency among the venues, the various venues that we're going week to week, because the production is coming along, and for an internet stream, it's looking really good. I certainly can agree with that, considering the amount of cricket we're doing. So yeah, at any time, just roll with it. Whatever's happening, have fun, enjoy European Cricket Series. It's a really cool experience. If they go well, hopefully you'll be doing it more than just the once. Okay, so for now, this is Vinny Sandhu for the European Cricket Network saying enjoy your time in the European Cricket Series, and until next time, it's bye for now. Okay, real bye. Good luck, guys. Okay, I'll be watching, and if you need any help, get in touch with some of the European cricket guys, and they can send you over to me. All right. See you guys. Enjoy yourselves.